Hi everyone, welcome to I'm Recruiter podcast. Today is our first episode, and we have invited a guest. Uh, Sharan is a friend as well as a colleague of mine. We both work together. So, welcome Sharan to I'm Recruiter podcast.
So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to this podcast. My name is Sharan Singh, and I work as talent acquisition partner with Cradle Point. I've almost completed 2 years with this amazing organization. So I'm basically from Jamshedpur. Jamshedpur is a small town which is near to Calcutta, and it's also very famous for its steel industry, which is Tata Steel, and it's also called as Tata Nagar as well. So from there, I started my education. That's where I was born and raised. And further, for my further studies, I moved to Visakhapatnam. Then I moved. I've also stayed a couple of months in Bangalore as well. Then I moved to Pune. From Pune, again, I have now made a move to Bangalore for my career growth. So, so when I after I completed my 12th from Visakhapatnam, I thought of also getting some more money. So I joined as a sales advisor in my own organization that my brother had. It was more of an advertisement company that he had, and so he used to advertise in newspapers and billboards, which you see around in many of the cities, and also used to give advertisements in local channels as well. So where I was mainly responsible to get some new clients for him, and I used to get paid in terms of incentive basis of whatever the commission was. I used to get some percentage of it. So that's how so I started earning very early in my stage, I would say, or very early in my age, I would say. And from there almost worked with him for almost 2 to 3 years. So I did had a very good gist of how sales is done. I also used to research on Google what are some good pitches that you can do, so to attract customers or to retain customers, because even there are customers who leave your organization and they go with some other brands as well. So these were two things which I learned during that process. I think after that, once I came to Pune, I joined as a customer success executive, or say customer care executive. And over there, my main job was to retain customers. It wasn't selling, but it was more of retention, how to retain your customers in that. So I used to handle 100 to 125 customers a day. So, which was quite lengthy, and the calls were back to back. As you disconnect, within a fraction of second, another call used to hit you. And so that was where I worked for almost 6-7 months. And then I transitioned to a different job. Why? Because that company didn't survive in the market for very long. And then I moved to another company where again I came into retentions, where again I used to retain customer rather than selling. And I survived some good months over there, and I got a very good opportunity into sales. And then I joined Tech Mahindra. So when I joined Tech Mahindra, I was working there as a sales executive, where my job was mainly selling contracts, mobile contracts for UK customers. Earlier I used to use in the US market, then I moved to UK market. And UK market was also, I found it to be very tough, because it's not very easy to sell customers in any segment, I feel. Sales is a good tough job, but if you have the right skill, if you have the right potential, if you have the right wordings, and if you feel that your product has that benefits that it can give to the customers, you can definitely sell it. People say that you can sell snow as well in Kashmir. So that's the thing, you need to know what your product does. You can sell ice as well, where it's people do get snow over there. So it's how you present it and how you sell it all depends upon that. So after surviving in TechM for some good 2.5-2 years, I got an opportunity into recruitment. So when I got an opportunity into recruitment, my sister was into recruitment industry, so I had a gist about it, how recruitment works and what are the things that has to be done. But when I gave the interview, I found it to be very similar to what I was doing in the past. Why? Because over here we were selling certain products. Over here we'll be selling jobs. So as when you work in a consulting, it's not a specific company that you have to work with. Your role mainly comes in that you need to understand the product, you need to understand the company, and you need to hire people from them. So when I used to work in consulting, where my recruitment journey started, the company was Boyd and More Executive Search, and that was a Japanese firm. They mainly used to focus on recruitment in Japan. So that's where I started my recruitment journey. And even like it had a bit story like how I got over there, and like I landed into some other job. Like it was into a residential building, that particular office, and I, instead of going to the first floor, I went on to the second floor. And even that company had a very similar kind of a name, more enterprises, something like that, which I'm not able to recall right now, but something more related, MOORE. And I also sat for the interview as well. And I plus, like when I was talking about experience, I saw that the interviewer was like bit clueless. I mean, he had that expression on his face, but I wasn't able to I thought that I am not giving the right answers, but I kept on talking. I just wanted to show my confidence that I'm not like really scared of like the faces that you're making, or like even if he's trying to confuse me. I just kept doing my part. And after that, I was shortlisted as well. It was more of a kind of a finance job for a fresher. But later I got to know that I came to the wrong office and I gave a wrong interview because both had very similar names. Later I called the HR of the organization, Boyd and Moore. She said that it's on the first floor. Then I came down, I apologized, I was late almost by an hour. Again, my interview started and I got selected. And there I realized that yes, how recruitment industry actually works and what are the things that in recruitment a recruiter has to do. But in a consulting firm, things are very different compared to when you step into a corporate. So after working with consulting for like, I worked with Boyd and Moore, then I worked for a US firm which was called iPlace. It's a very famous US recruitment consulting firm called iPlace. But I used to be part of APAC. So they recently started their APAC market as well. And I was, you can say that in the pilot batch that iPlace started into. And I worked there for good almost 1 year time. And then I made a move to Cradle Point, and I always was very interested in, like, after spending like almost 3.5, 4 years into like consulting organization, I thought of like upskilling my own skills, and I thought of moving into corporate sector now and just exploring the market more and like developing my own recruitment skills more. So I joined Cradle Point, and I think so far it's going amazing for me. I've definitely learned a lot of things over here. Consulting, as I mentioned, was really different, but what I learned at Cradle Point is totally different.
Awesome. Great journey from sales to support to recruitment,
Yeah,
and in recruitment from consulting to corporate. Definitely a great journey and vast experience, I would say. Great.
yeah.
So, just a follow-up question I have for you, Sharan.
Mhm.
Like, since you have experience in sales, experience in recruitment, uh, how do you define a successful recruiter or a sourcer in corporate organization?
In a corporate organization, I feel like a SOSA can be successful if you know your basic tools, your basic understanding of how candidates can be sourced. And a recruiter becomes successful not only by, I think, hiring candidates. Hiring is something which, even like if you like shortlist 10 resumes and put it into pipeline, out of which one will get into like hiring process and one will get shortlisted. I find success as a recruiter when I see that your candidate is performing, when your candidate is stepping up the ladder, when your hire is getting appreciated by the hiring managers, when your hire is like getting promoted in the same organization and is really being valued, like he has made or she has made a really big changes. So that's where, like, when you speak to your own candidates, you get to know like how hungry and humble that candidates need to be, how if that particular candidate can handle a lot of challenges, and if that candidate has hunger of learning. If these three qualities are there, then definitely that candidate will be successful. And when that candidate becomes successful, that's a success of a recruiter as well.
Awesome. Great answer, I would say. So, like, there are many people who wanted to become a recruiter, right? So, since you have a diverse background altogether, right? So, what do you think? Do we need to have any specialized skills or course to become a recruiter, or anyone can become a recruiter?
I think communication is one thing which a person needs to have. Communication skills plays a very important role because you need to sell that job. So, like, if you see that there are thousands of jobs in the market and there are lakhs of candidates which are already there in the market, but if you want to hire some top candidates, you always need to sell your product, because there are candidates from like tier A companies, for example, pioneer in industries. And if you want to hire candidates from like Google, Amazon, Facebook, why will they leave their job and work in your organization? So you need to sell your product. So you need to have that skill of selling your product. You need to have that skill of like understanding your company, what your company does, and how it makes your company so different and successful than what these pioneers are doing in the market. So if you have this skill that you will be able to sell that, then definitely you can become a recruiter.
Great. Someone is good with communication and someone is good with selling, or someone have the potential to learn things, he or she can become a recruiter. We don't require any kind of specialized skill like MBA or BBA or any course, right? Anyone can become a recruiter. Question here for you, Sharan, is like, since you have like 5+ years of experience, right? Can you also highlight some of your challenging moments and as well as some of your successful moment in your recruitment journey?
Okay, so I think successful moments are definitely there are many, and there are some bad moments as well. Now it varies, like whether I had those bad moments with either the hiring manager or with the candidates. So I'll differentiate both. So with the hiring manager, I think let's talk about challenge. Then we'll move to the good part. Is a lack of communication with the hiring manager, which comes on to as a very important point when you're discussing like how things went wrong. If there's no proper communication, it will definitely lead to like delays. It will lead to misunderstanding, and it will definitely lead to frustration as well, because in the end your job is not getting done and you are stuck with things, you're stuck with the process. So it'll become very difficult for you if you don't have a proper communication. Second, one thing which does not happen with all the hiring managers, but some hiring managers do have very unrealistic expectations sometimes. They also want qualification, they also want experience, but they also don't want to focus on the compensation part as well. So it's very important that you should first set expectations with your hiring managers, like what position you're hiring for, what's the data in the market, what candidate pool is available in the market, what kind of experience is available in the market, and accordingly what's the compensation that is being paid to them. So this way you won't move ahead with unrealistic expectations. But if you don't keep your points clear, if you don't take your own stand, and if you just say what hiring manager keeps telling you, then it'll be very difficult for you to close a position as well. So like I had similar position, that's why I'm giving these examples to you. So have like lack of communication, unrealistic expectations will always lead to a really bad situation for you. And I think sometimes like micromanagement as well, but it does not work very much with recruiters. It mostly works with their own teams if they are having that micromanagement thing being done. And now with candidates, I think the bad thing which goes is once candidate starts ghosting you. So this is a very common thing in recruitment industry, and it's very common with all the recruiters. Either they'll ghost you after like they've applied to the job, or they'll ghost you once the offer is released to them. So the main painful part comes into picture is when the offer is released to them, and then they start ghosting you because you spend so much of time with them. Hiring managers spend time, interviewers spend time. You were the one who were pushing them for complete all the interviews, educating them like how interviews has to be done, what all skills they'll focus on. After so much of effort, after the offer, and they get lost. So these are the one thing which really is a challenge in the recruitment industry. And I'm not sure as of now that this can be overcome and this will sustain for a longer time. But yeah, there are a couple of things which can make it better as well, like the candidate experience. But this are a major challenge with the candidates too, like the ghosting, I would say.
Thank you. So just to conclude from this question here is like, communication is must, right? If we don't have
Yes,
proper communication, there will be a challenge. Right?
definitely.
Last point which you have mentioned is candidate ghosting after offer, and I think market after COVID was very different, as many candidates have multiple of offers. So the power was with the candidates, I would say. Now the power came back to the companies with lots of economy and other things going on in the market, right?
Right, right.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing the challenges. Can you also share the successful uh, story during your recruitment journey?
successful story also comes into picture, Praful, when it comes to which I mentioned, like if you're having a successful story with the hiring managers, then as I mentioned, always have like a strategic partnership with your hiring managers, or say like build relationship with your hiring man. And this does not only apply to hiring managers, this applies to your candidates as well. Building relationship is a very important factor as a recruiter, that you need to have a very open communication style. You need to understand the culture, and you need to be very transparent, and you need to gain the trust of the hiring manager and of the candidate as well. Only this way you can become a very successful recruiter, and this will also create a very good journey for you as a recruiter towards your hiring manager and the candidates both. So as I mentioned, lack of communication was over there. Over here, building relationship can only happen if you have a very good communication with your hiring. Be transparent, be true to yourself, to your candidate, and to your hiring managers, and just understand the needs very well.
So I definitely do agree, Sharan, because if you want to build a strong relationship, you have to have a good communication.
Communication plays a very important role, be it with relatives, be it with your partner, be it with your children, be it with your at your workplace, be it with your senior man, like anybody. Like communication plays an important role, and the trust factor. Building trust is also a very important role over here.
Okay. So my next question here is, Sharan, like in recruitment, right? So sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, right? So how, as a recruiter, you keep yourself motivated, right, to get the things done?
Every day can't be a good day, and if we have that expectation, that's not realistic. There will be ups and downs, there will be challenges, and that challenging phase should motivate you. If you have confidence in your own self, that yes, like you have that skill, definitely you have done so many hirings in the past, you have closed so many positions. If that one position is not closing, that should not let you down. I mean, there are challenging, because there are some niche skills that we have to work upon sometimes. And when it comes to niche skill, there are very less pool of candidates available in the market. So it's very important that you should educate your hiring manager, you should educate your stakeholder. So it's just that you should have confidence in your own self, you should believe your own self, and you should look at the past performance that you have delivered, and that will show you that you've already like delivered some important and difficult task in the past. How can it can lead you down at this point of time? It's a difficult challenge, it's a tough time which will pass.
Now, since it has been like little bit serious discussion, I wanted to have little bit more fun. Like,
Okay.
so what you generally, from your past 5 years experience, like, is there any funny moment in your recruitment experience, which sometimes if you look back, you like feel like laughing at yourself, or you keep smiling after thinking about that particular thing? Is there any such moment?
There are many. So like when I started as my recruitment journey, so that time like when you're very young, you're very focused on like, okay, which team will I be, and who will be the person sitting next to me, who would I be reporting to. And that time, like, you're young, you're not married, you also try to focus on some other stuffs as well. Okay, okay, let's there are how many girls are there in the organization, so there are a lot of things which comes into picture. So like when I started, so I was like getting interviewed by a person. So her name was Sheetal, and I was like, okay, and like that person told me that you'll be in my team, and we were having like all communications over email itself. We like you'll be in my team, this will be your role. So I never had so later, but I never thought of like a Sheetal could be a guy as well. So like once I joined, and his told like complete name came out to be as Sheetal Singh. And I was like, okay, like how can Sheetal be like Singh, or how can Sheetal like be? So maybe that was the time when we like. So now like as so many things have come into picture, like I shouldn't be saying it, because like every like things become like very equal. But that point of time, there was not so much of clarity over things. There was not so education over like not being biased, or not being, or being gender neutral, things as such. which have definitely like taken part right now, and even right now it's evolving, and there's a lot of like things or discussions about it right now. But that time it wasn't so much over there. There was a lot of biasness that used to happen. So even like somewhere I had that mindset, but now as a recruiter, definitely that has changed a lot, because we also focus a lot on diversity hiring. So that was one thing where I was very excited for almost 1 week, and I used to feel very pumped up. So when I joined, it all ruined in just a second.
Great. Really. Even I feel sometimes like similar incident happened with me as well. And there are a couple of times when I have seen uh, Prafulla as a female lady or a
Yeah,
woman, right?
yeah,
So it happens from place to place and location to location, right? Great. So now you have mentioned somewhere about diversity hiring as well, right?
yeah.
So what diversity really means to you? Because diversity is a broad term, right? There are lots
Very,
of
yeah,
different.
yeah.
So what exactly it means to you, and why these days diversity is very important for all the organization?
Yeah. Diversity hiring is nothing but a hiring that is free from bias. Now, when I talk about free from bias, now what that means is that no person should be judged on the basis of like age, be it race, be it gender, be it their sexual orientation, or be it their sexual preferences as well, or like or any other characteristic that are relevant to the job profile, I would say. So it's very simple that you should not hire a candidate or judge a candidate basis on the race that they belong to, the age that they belong to, or the gender that they belong to. It should be that you should be very open with your mind that I just want to get this particular skill to my organization, this particular skill into my team. That's it. From where that person is coming, what's their family background, what race do they belong to, what orientation do they belong to, what age do they belong to, nothing should matter to you. That's what diversity is these days.
Great answer, I would say, Sharan, right? And very nicely said, right? It's like very easy to understand as well. And when initially during our uh, work experience, right, many of us might not have those understanding what exactly diversity means. But well said, and thank you for explaining it so nicely. Have is why these days it's important for the organization to have diversity focused hiring.
Okay. So what I feel is like with diversity, what happens is like diversity brings very openness in a company or an organization or into any culture. Okay. So one thing which I feel that it brings a foster of creativity somewhere. So that if a person, like if you have a very diverse team, you'll have different ideas in the team, because like as you must like it's a very common thing to understand a perspective of a male or a thinking of a male is very different to how a female person thinks. Just an example, I'm not trying to like put different genders over here. I'm just trying to just make you understand a female thinking definitely differs to a male thinking. So if you have a very diverse team, if you have a very diverse culture in the organization, it brings different creativity, it brings different innovation, it brings different ideas to your team, which can definitely make a team or a product or an organization very successful. When you and also when it comes to like seeing in terms of data, or so there was a like research that had been conducted, and in the research what we saw was like when once there is a diverse team in an organization, or the team is like having complete diversity within the organization, there was a lot of improvement in the process as well, or there was a lot of improvement in the performance as well. Your problem solving becomes enhanced, your performance is more improved, your organization can gain a lot of competitiveness or a competitive edge in the marketplace. uh, Employee engagement becomes better, retention becomes better. So all these things plays a very important aspect in terms of an organization as well, having retention, having like employee engagement, having good problem solving skills, or having a good performance, better decision making, and definitely innovation, creativity is always there. So if these things comes into picture, any organization will be successful, and diversity brings all these.
I I believe that like it's enhanced the culture overall, like
Yeah,
for any
definitely.
organization, if we have a diverse team, right?
Yeah.
Great. Now, one of the hot topic which is going on in the market, which is
Mhm.
AI, right?
Mhm.
So, what do you think about AI and how it is going to impact the recruitment industry? Like, what is your thought process around?
So I guess already AI has entered into recruitment industry very well, and now so there are two perspectives to it. When I talk from candidates' point of view is different. When I talk from recruiters' point of view is different. But in the end, they do both land up to talent acquisition because candidates has to reach out to talent acquisitions. Now, when it comes to like candidates, uh, these days you must be seeing that their resumes are so tailored so well. So definitely, I'm not saying the skills that they have put in is not relevant. They have worked on those skills, but to make it very presentable, to make it very good looking, or to make it very attractive, AI can definitely do that because AI always works on personalization, which is one thing which either it does from recruiter end as well, it does from the candidate end as well, which is personalization. So it's not that you'll see that all resumes are same which AI has created. All resumes will be different because it has personalized as per your need. So if you want to put in this skill, if you want to put in like this particular design, it will like cater in such a way. So it definitely helps for candidates to make a very tailored resume. Now, when it comes to AI with talent acquisition, there are so many things where AI has helped us. Now, first, where I'll say it has somewhere landed with like automation. Now, how automation has come into picture is if you see many sourcing tools or like many ATS tools that we are using, uh, when you upload the job description and when candidate starts applying, it automatically says this is a strong candidate, this is a good candidate, this is a fair candidate. How AI is able to do that? So AI tries to relate the things that are mentioned in the job description and what candidate has written. So when it tries to match and it sees that the match percent is above 80%, it says it's a strong candidate. When match percent come around like 65 to 80%, it says that it's a good candidate. And similarly, the things goes for your job portals as well. So already when it comes to like sourcing or like shortlisting, AI is doing a certain job where it's like streamlining your process a bit so that you don't have to like filter out 500, 600 resumes. It'll filter out 200 for you, and from there you apply different filter as per your need, and you can just shortlist like 10, 15 that you need. So this is one where AI helps you in one thing. Second, from recruiters' point of view, it delivers a very great candidate experience. So we do send emails to candidates. We do send in-mails to candidates from LinkedIn. We do send messages from like many job portals to candidates. When we do that, so when we use that AI tool, which is already in that particular job portal, it does not go ahead and just like sends a same email to everybody. It like personalizes the email. So where I talked about the personalization earlier, it does the same thing over here. It personalizes the email so that once a candidate receives it, that particular candidate, he or she feels that this particular email was only sent to me and this was only for me, because it was very personalized in such a way that hi blah, so and so, I see that you have like 7+ years of experience in this, and Cradle Point is hiring currently for this particular position. We really liked your these skills, which candidate has mentioned in the profile. So it personalizes in a very amazing way. Now, also definitely it helps in like diversity and inclusion as well. When it comes to when AI comes into picture, it like diversifies candidates pools very well, and it mitigates bias in the hiring process. And earlier you must have observed like hiring was done in a very different way. Now hiring is done in a skill-based performance. Like we don't hire much in terms of like what degree this person has, what education this person has. We hire more in terms of skills. What skill this person has, what kind of skill we are looking for. So that's where like AI also improves it or like tailors your search in a better way. So AI, and not to forget, definitely when it comes to interview scheduling has become very easy through AI. The candidate shares the availability, AI tries to match the availability with the hiring manager or the interviewer, and automatically sends the invite. So there's no human touch needed over there.
But still in the market, right?
Mhm.
Lots of people have the fear of losing their job, considering the current market scenario, right?
Mhm.
Where lots of companies have been firing. Like,
Mhm.
is it related to AI, and is AI going to like create those kind of job cuts in the market?
Somewhere I'll say yes, but if you're talking about recruitment industry, I'll say no. Why? Because like that human touch is very necessary when you're speaking to a candidate. So AI can definitely do a lot of things, but it cannot give that human touch to a candidate, right? It cannot empathize. It cannot there's no empathy, there's no sympathy when all these things are there. So AI cannot work on those things, and a human touch is definitely required. So once you speak to a candidate, AI cannot. I don't think AI can go ahead and analyze that if this particular person fits your culture of the organization, and that culture plays a very important role. If you're hiring a candidate, you need to definitely see if your culture, if your organization culture matches to the person that you are hiring, because everybody comes from a different background, from a different work life as well. So I don't think AI can work on culture. I don't think AI can work on that human touch. I don't think AI can work on the empathy part as well. So there are many other factors as well which AI cannot work upon, and I don't think that can be done in the future as well. I mean, it may, but I don't think it can so far. What we have seen.
For recruiter, uh, like you need to connect or have those relationship with your candidates or with your stakeholders, right? Which AI at this certain moment, it's kind of not possible for AI
Yeah,
to take place. But
yeah,
again, in future we don't know.
yeah.
Any kind of suggestion or advice to any aspiring recruiters, like how to become successful in their career journey?
I'll say that market is very dynamic. My market changes like very quickly. There's like a very sudden spike that happens, very sudden downfall. So I'll say that always be very mindful whenever you're hiring. Always keep yourself motivated. Always learn new technologies, because the technology that you are using today, that can just turn in a night, and you never know which new technology comes up. But when I say in a night, it's not that your complete ATS will change and you just have to start working on a new ATS. No, not like that. I'm saying that there are many new tools which comes into market, and there are new strategies that comes into market. So always keep yourself educated. Always learn new tools that are coming in the market. Keep yourself very updated, and this way definitely you'll be able to become a successful recruiter. And one point never to forget, which I have mentioned like so many times in the past as well, lack of communication will never lead you to be a good recruiter. Always keep the transparency, always keep the trust factor, and always have that effective communication with your hiring managers, with your stakeholders, be it with anyone.
I do agree, and thank you for such a great advice. Right. So last question I have
Sure.
for you. Right. So again, like first of all, thank you for coming to our first episode of I Am Recruiter community. Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when we are talking about I Am Recruiter community, so why do you think a person or a group of people should be part of a community, like
Okay.
how he or she is benefited from a community?
So, as a recruiter, one very important thing that you must have realized so far, that references do get hired quickly than whom you source. Okay. So, when you are in a community, when you build a community, first of all, you are building your own connections. Building connections is very important. Be it anybody, so like be it with anywhere, like be it in any industry, having good connections or like people knowing you is a very important factor, be it professionally, be it personally as well. So once you are a part of the community, it's not that you just need to be just part of it and then you're very quiet, silent, or you just never replies. Be a part of, be an active member of that community. Always share, like people do ask a lot of questions in that if they have any doubts. If you have that knowledge, share your knowledge with them, and people will recognize you. So when you are in need, and if you're looking for a switch, if you're looking that you want to improve yourself, you want to go up the ladder, you want to move up the step, then definitely that particular person who you have helped so many times, they can be helped to you. So being a part of the community is very important, and this way you can also share your knowledge. It's not that everything is in your head. Always share your knowledge, and then you'll be able to gain double of it.
Agree, agree. Thank you, Sharon, for sharing such a great point. With this, I would say we are at the end of our discussion. And once again, thank you, Sharon, for coming and being our first guest
Thank
in
you.
our I am Recruiter community. It was lovely talking to you. It was great sharing your experiences with all the community members as well as across other people as well, like
Right.
about the journey of a recruiter, right?
Mhm. No problem at all. It was kind of a refresher for me as well. There were so many points which I mentioned, and now I was definitely doing that. But sometimes, like, there's a little push because you always want to change the process. You always want to try something new. So when you're in that race of trying something new, sometimes you just forget that good things that you used to do in the past. So it was a reminder for me as well. I'll definitely try to add a lot of things that which I discussed today to the new process that I am trying to follow. And definitely there will be some other people as well which will be coming on this podcast. I'll be very interested in like seeing them, listening to their journeys and learning from them. Learning never stops. So always keep learning, keep yourself motivated, and you'll always be a good recruiter or a sourcer or a good beat any time. If you're changing industry, if you're changing an organization, if you're changing anything, if you're moving to a new job, you'll be successful.
Great, lovely, Sharon. And thank you once again and have a great
No
day.
problem. You too, Praful. Thank you so much for inviting me. Have great rest of the day of you.
You too. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.